Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Can you be yourself with a younger Filipina? Here's 11 ways to know. In any good relationship, both people should be able to be themselves, not feeling the weight of needing to conform to the other's expectations. Is this somehow different in a foreigner-Filipina union, considering the differences in culture and often age gap? Can you be yourself, or will you have to act younger around a younger wife, or be embarrassed when out in public? After all, there is a certain amount of social disapproval of the type of relationship many who watch these videos are looking for. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea, and I will share what I have learned since being married to my Filipino wife since May of 2015. If you haven't gotten far into this kind of journey yet, perhaps I can help you with preparing for it. You're welcome to leave comments, and if you already have a Filipina, I welcome you sharing your experiences. Don't forget to get notifications for upcoming videos. My concern picking this topic was just the idea of how marrying a younger Filipina might be tempting to make a man, excuse me, there's the one cough per video, alter the way he normally thinks and what he stands for, and act differently around her or even around his friends when he is with his wife. I'd like to think that when I am with Isa alone or with some friends or even with her family, that I am the same person in all scenarios. Each should see the good in the other. Each should not want to change essential things about the other. We should be complimentary of each other's strengths and accept the weaknesses. It is good to allow each other to be themselves. Now, I am not suggesting we should have carte blanche to behave any way we want, and that has to be accepted without consequences. I want to begin with that disclaimer. We can't ignore that there are things about us that probably do need to change, and those should be worked on for the good of the relationship. Society has become increasingly selfish, which makes having a good marriage impossible. People put themselves above the relationship and end up destroying it. I don't just want to be accepted for being myself. I want to become a better self for my wife. Now, here are ways that each partner in a relationship should be able to safely be themselves without worrying they must conform to the wishes of a manipulative partner. Let's start with, you can maintain other relationships. Especially early on, the foreigner will need to spend extra time with his Filipino wife because everything will be new to her in her new country. So he has to be willing to temporarily spend less time with his friends. He owes that to her, but he should be able to maintain, some key relationships and introduce his new bride to them. I think it's quite possible that your friends will be her friends and your family will be her family. And speaking of family, my mother lives with us, and I feel, relatively free and uninhibited to act around my Filipino wife the same way I act around her when we are alone. Well, almost. I don't feel the need to be different when my mother is around. Another point, you can maintain your values and beliefs if you can be yourself. The foreign man should not be, he shouldn't have to walk on eggshells with his values and beliefs for fear of upsetting his Filipino wife. So be sure to talk about your important beliefs before dating, before getting really serious. My wife knew some of my values and where they came from, so I hope there have not been any surprises for her. It helps to talk about non-negotiables before marriage. You can maintain your personality. Being with a younger woman can cause some guys to try to act younger or act in ways to impress the Filipina, but you can't act forever. I would never recommend doing anything out of the ordinary for you to impress a Filipina. Being yourself is the only way that you'll know if she accepts the real you. Another point, you can maintain your quirks. We all have odd things about our personalities, and the longer you've known the Filipina, the more likely she will be exposed to them. But it takes being together a lot in order to have all of our quirks and idiosyncrasies out in the open. There are some things we can't change about someone else, and our personality and quirks are two of them. If your Filipina is accepting of your personality quirks, she is allowing you to be yourself. And you don't have to give up all of your interests. The fewer time-consuming interests you have before marriage, the easier it will be to spend quality time with your Filipina. I don't think it is reasonable or fair to the Filipina to have to vie with anything for your attention. I believe she needs to be your number one priority. You might have to throw some interests overboard. I'm just saying she shouldn't demand you drop all of your interests. Just, so talk a lot with her before marriage about what you've been doing over the years and how important they are to you still. Also, you are allowed to fail if you're being allowed to be yourself. Here's an area it helps to have spent ample time with each other in person, which is, of course, difficult or impossible in a very long-distance relationship. The more time she sees you make mistakes, the more human you are, the more you can observe how she reacts. If the relationship is good, you won't have to feel like you have to be perfect. And you can express yourself without fear. This is another way to know if you are free to be yourself. If you feel like you have to withhold your opinions because of fear of rejection, that would not be good. I'm not referring to boisterously proclaiming opinions you already know she dislikes. You still have to use tact. In our marriage, I've known her long enough to know how she feels about some of my opinions. While she might not, disagree with them necessarily, I'm a lot more outspoken and sometimes can belabor the point, press the point more than I need to. I have learned that I can express myself without fear because she agrees with me or tolerates my opinion already. But I have to be careful about the circumstances. I can't be a loose cannon. For example, we might have different opinions of Duterte's drug war. She will accept mine, but that doesn't give me the right to bring it up all the time. This isn't something we argue about, by the way. Also, you don't feel controlled or micromanaged if you can be yourself. You know you can be yourself when she isn't trying to control your time, which is good. As long as he isn't making her feel ignored and is able to talk to her when she needs to, he is more likely to be able to be himself. Also, you can have a differing opinion. This is much like the preceding one. We all want to have many things in common with our mate, but we won't see eye to eye on everything. It can be tempting when together with a beautiful Filipina to not want to ruffle any feathers or cause conflict for fear of losing her. But it isn't healthy to have to stifle how you feel about things. Eventually, it's all going to come out. Try to find out while dating a Filipina what her moral compass is, what her opinions are about certain things going on in the world. If you can't agree on them or agree on much, then that would be a red flag. But in a good relationship, you can have a differing opinion about something and not have to worry it will hurt the relationship. It helps to know why she feels about things the way she does. What needs to be avoided is bringing up topics you know will upset her or battling over who is right, being argumentative. There are some topics I've learned are on the sensitive side, so I've learned to not go too far with my opinions. A couple more points here. You are allowed to change your mind. If you're able to change your mind over time about something, this is another indication you can be yourself in a relationship. And the last one, and there's probably others, but I have 11, you are trusted. This is always a consideration in a foreigner and Filipina relationship, trust. Does my Filipina trust me to not pay attention to other women? Does she trust me to take good care of her? Does she trust me to be the man she thought I was when we got married? If a Filipina trusts her husband, I think he can relax and be himself. I feel like I can be myself around my love beyond the sea.